Over the last few years, I've been on a bit of a personal journey. Lots of soul searching and really just discovering who I really am. Taking the time to finally look inward and clean out some of those mental cobwebs, or at least try to get things sorted out. However, in my journeys, I would always run into this brick wall, this mental block. A mental block that I was all too familiar with. Whenever things came to my own personal stories, or cartoons, or ideas, I would always feel this strong hesitation. A sort of mental disconnect with my own projects. And that's just kind of the way things have always been, now that I think about it. Going back as far as I can remember, I've always had this very strange mental disconnect with my own projects. And just kind of seemingly increasing as I've gotten older. But I continued searching. I continued searching to see if I could find a name for what this is. And finally, after many hours of searching, and many dead ends, I think I finally know what it is now. Turns out, it's a mental condition called depersonalization. Definitely a bit of a mouthful. From my research, it sounds like it's something that started at an early age, as some kind of coping mechanism to help deal with everything that'd been going on at the time. But, as things just continued to get sillier and sillier, it just kind of compounded on itself. Specifically over the last few years, I believe. And you know, just like everything that had been happening over this past few years, it just broke me, I guess. And like, I would always kind of pride myself as being able to bounce back from rough spots. But turns out, even I had my limits. Over the past, decade, over the past decade or so, of having my hopes and dreams kind of stomped out by either personal things or silly YouTube weird algorithms and copyright claims, etc., etc. I guess it just kind of took its toll. And, you know, despite things being extremely calm around here, at least since I have completed the whole Draw My Life video, it's continued to be extremely difficult to get back on track. Depersonalization is a condition that makes it difficult to associate with my own experiences. It's like I'm disconnected from myself. It's like you're disconnected from yourself? It kind of feels like you're watching over your own shoulder. Like, not in like you're two different people kind of sense, but in just a difficult to understand. This is hard to explain. It's difficult to understand, yeah, your own experiences. It's really hard to put into words. And I think the difficulty in explaining it really kind of embodies what this condition really is. It's hard to associate with myself, which makes trying to grow and build myself up extremely difficult and stressful and frustrating and goodness. But like, the more I read about this condition and like the more I looked at it, the more things really started to make sense. The more the pieces really started to fall into place. That is why I have so much trouble trying to grow myself. That is why when I try to focus on myself in almost any fashion, my brain goes completely blank. It's the depersonalization. I mentioned before at an early age that I kind of quit paying attention to myself. Any of those feelings and emotions, I just kind of tossed it out as not being important. I became more compelled to keep those around me happy rather than worrying too much about my own well-being. But now that I'm actually trying to better myself, trying to focus on improving myself in various aspects of my life, it's like my mental defenses and coping mechanisms are fighting that. I've mentioned to people before that it's like I found myself on the opposite side of my own mental defenses. It's almost like I've been locked out of my own house, and I'm trying to reverse engineer an entire lifetime's worth of booby traps and firewalls. This is why that Draw My Life video took so long to do, because it was like, it's like pulling teeth in a mental kind of capacity. It was unpleasant and uncomfortable every step of the way, and that's just kind of how it is with me creatively. It's difficult and stressful and frustrating, and I don't want it to be that way. But I guess the silver lining to all of this is, but mentally, currently, I think I'm in a better place. I'm more equipped to deal with this kind of stuff than I have ever been before. And like, every time I've come back, I had been more mentally prepared than the time prior. It sounds weird. It's a weird sentence, but I'm gonna roll with it. A question that I've asked myself about this whole situation is, could I have just stayed in the mindset that I had before? Have I opened some kind of crazy Pandora's box and made a terrible mistake attempting to fix all of this? Now, of course, you know, there's no real way of knowing for sure. There's no way of knowing for sure. But I don't think I would have been in a very happy place had I continued down that path. I'm hard-pressed to say that I'm very happy down this path, but I don't know. I can definitely feel the progress. I can definitely feel the progress that I've made. It does sometimes feel like I've made huge leaps backwards, but I know that I've taken huge leaps forward as well. But I think it's important. I think all of this is very important. But I think all of this is important. Sharing this story is important. My thing just beeped at me. It's important. Sharing this story is important to me. And kind of my way of thinking is, if you're struggling with something, you'll never not want to know what's going on. No matter how unsettling, demoralizing, or just downright awful you think the results might be, the weight that can be lifted off your shoulders in simply having a name for it. Knowing solutions that other people might have. And I think more importantly than anything, just knowing that you're not alone can make a world of difference. In my case, a simple Google search of depersonalization will bring up many results of people with similar stories. My frustrations and confusions and etc. mirrored across the entire planet. There's something humbling about that. It's humanizing to that. It kind of removes the big bad guy, the mysterious, untouchable thing, I guess, of not knowing. It demystifies it and really brings it into view a bit. It's been really difficult to really find myself. And I suppose it's just one of those quirks with this whole situation. Being able to finally talk about this stuff is a pretty big deal to me. And I mean, being able to understand what's actually going on is an even bigger deal to me. And like, even being able to come to this place where I am, it's pretty strange, definitely. But I genuinely believe that this is one of the big obstacles that has been holding me back. Unknowingly holding me back all of these years, and I would never have reached this spot if it hadn't been for all of you guys who have supported me throughout the years. There's a lot of you who still to this day have been following me for many, many years. Let's just say that. Many, many years. And I'm really happy to finally, I don't know, discover this issue that I've been knowing existed far longer than I knew its proper name. And yeah, it's just, I can't thank you guys enough, really. But we've made some really good progress. I've made some really good progress to understanding what this is. I now understand why I've fallen short on a number of my other attempts to come back in the YouTube scene. I have an entire video planned talking about my new schedule, but just to briefly touch on it here is I want to come back at a much slower pace. I think all of my previous comebacks, I've always wanted to just kind of dive right into it, give it 300% as I think I have worded previously, but I'm gonna tone it down a lot. I'm toning down a lot. I'm working on new schedules. I'm working on new strategies to get things going. It's a lot slower paced, but I think the payoff will be that I won't get stressed out. I don't even know if it's stress necessarily, but I won't. We'll just call it stress for the sake of this video. I won't get stressed out. I won't get overburdened. I think that's a better word. I won't get overburdened. I won't feel like I'm lost in expectations that I set for myself. So we're gonna go slow. We're gonna start slow and see where that takes us. Recently I've been toning things down a lot. I've been toning things down. Instead of ramping up too much, I'm staying slow and working on building those positive habits and things. And I've had more success with this strategy than I think any other strategy I've tried before. So like I said, that'll be a video on its own coming shortly after this. I plan on recording it like immediately after, but if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that video, and if you're not, then stay tuned to the other content. I definitely plan on speaking about this a little bit more on my art channel, but maybe not so much here on my gaming channel. I think it kind of fits that theming on my art channel. I put a link to that in the description if you're interested, but depersonalization, from what I've seen, really seems to be the... I saw somebody word it. I saw somebody in another video word it as the Freddy Krueger of mental issues, and like the more you think about it, the worse it gets. I totally get that. I totally get that. So I might not do too many more videos on it, but I will do a few more, and I'll be posting those on the art channel. But I think I'm just excited to have a name for this. I'm excited to have a method of tackling these issues. And I think most importantly, I'm excited just to get back into things. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit slower, but yeah, I'm just excited to get back into things. But before I ramble on too much more, I think I'm going to go ahead and call that a video, guys. Thank you very much again for all of your support. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, which is as uncomfortable of a place as it is. I can see the benefits to finally addressing this silly issue and finally moving past it and understanding it is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But alright, thank you very much for watching, guys. And I'll see you next time. So take it easy. Goodbye.